My name is Mark Fischer. I'm professor of theology at St. John's Seminary in Camarillo, California. And I'd like to tell you a story about Father Juan, a priest who learned a lot by consulting his pastoral council. Father Juan is the pastor of St. Rose, an urban church with no regular youth ministry. The parish has a good catechetical program and prepares many young people for the sacrament of confirmation, but there's no youth ministry. Father Juan felt that the parish needed one. Before he became a priest, he had been a youth minister himself. He had established a soccer club at his home parish, and the parish's teams had competed with other teams throughout the city. So he asked the pastoral council at St. Rose to investigate the matter. He wanted the members to study the needs of parish youth, to see how a youth minister could help them, and to estimate what it would cost. The council agreed to undertake the project that Father Juan had requested. Father Juan knew he was in trouble when he received a visit a week later from Elena Lopez, a member of the council and a senior citizen at the parish. Elena told Father Juan that the youth ministry proposal overlooked the parish's foremost pastoral need, which was care for the elderly. To back up her point, she quoted the 2010 census. She said 16.5% of people in the parish boundary are over 65 years of age. The parish ought to coordinate activities for them, said Elena. There ought to be social and religious activities for the able-bodied, as well as hot meals and visits for the homebound. Father Juan now found himself between a rock and a hard place. He had thought that by asking the council to study the possibility of youth ministry, he was doing a prudent thing, but instead, he had upset the parish's elderly. At the urging of Elena, they were telephoning him to say that the elderly were every bit as important as the youth. St. Rose Church, Father Juan reflected, has limited resources. It could afford to hire a youth minister or to hire a minister for the elderly, but it could not afford both. No one doubted that youth ministry and elder care would be valuable to the parish, but which should it be? The pastor had not anticipated the reaction of elderly parishioners to the youth ministry proposal. He realized that he needed to know more about the situation. So Father Juan turned to his pastoral council. He explained that he was in a quandary. He had underestimated the concerns of the elderly, he said. Those concerns were as important as the concerns of youth ministry. He asked the council whether he should consult more widely. The council suggested that he draw other parishioners into the conversation. He needed to inform them about the questions that he faced and to weigh their responses. With the council's help, Father Juan held a parish assembly to air the question. The assembly was not a referendum. He didn't ask participants to vote. It was aimed at helping parishioners to understand the parish's needs and wants. Not many parishioners knew about youth ministry or elder care. The assembly was part education and part discussion. It helped parishioners understand the two ministries, to see how the parish could implement them, and to estimate their cost. During the assembly, a number of parishioners emerged as articulate voices on the issue. They were deeply interested and willing to listen to others. They were committed to the parish and fair-minded. Father Juan appreciated them. He was looking for people with a special gift for prudence. He wanted those who could deliberate well, could take counsel, inquire, and judge wisely. He invited some of them to join a committee. The purpose of the committee was to continue the discussion and to try to reach a consensus. Father Juan began to meet with the committee and to reflect on the Assembly's insights. The story I've just told about Father Juan and St. Rose illustrates important aspects of the Pastoral Council ministry. We see, first of all, the role of the pastor. Father Juan consulted his council because he had an important decision to make. He wanted to make a good decision. He wanted one that would serve the parish's mission and unify its people. The story also shows that pastoral planning is a process. At St. Rose, it involved a pastoral council, then a parish assembly, then a special committee. The process took several months. Father Juan needed to see the big picture. He wanted his decision to strengthen the parish. How did the story end? Well, I said that after the parish assembly, Father Juan established a committee to study youth ministry and elder care. Elena Lopez was one of the committee members. At first, she was a firm advocate for ministry to the elderly. But then, one night, her grandson's car was vandalized in the grocery store parking lot. Someone spray-painted a gang name on it and slashed a tire. This made an impression on Elena. The committee on which she sat met for several months and eventually presented its findings to the Pastoral Council. The council agreed that the establishment of an expanded youth ministry was more immediately important than hiring a new staff member to coordinate ministry to the elderly. The council recommended this to Father Juan. Even Elena accepted the council's decision. She remembered the trouble her grandson had had with his car. Father Juan published the conclusions of the committee and council and announced his acceptance of them at the Sunday Masses. He carefully explained his rationale to the parishioners. He asked them to contribute money to launch the youth ministry program. Sufficient money was raised to hire a new youth minister. The new minister is now on the staff and he's thinking about starting a soccer club. Elena hasn't given up on the elderly. She's begun to develop a volunteer elder care. She reminds everyone that the size of the parish's elderly population is growing, and the parish is now raising money for an enhanced ministry to the elderly. Father Juan is grateful to the Pastoral Council for doing exactly what it was supposed to do, to investigate a situation, to reflect on it, and to recommend its conclusions to him. I hope your council is doing that for your pastor as well.